Tonight's result felt like someone had suddenly rewritten what we thought we knew about recognition in football. For months, Pedri's name lived in the same breath as the game's brightest prospects, the midfield metronome at Barcelona who stitched play together, the 22-year-old who helped steer Barca through the season with composure and a consistency that made others around him better. Fans, pundits and many neutral observers expected that body of work to translate into a top 10 Ballon d'Or finish. Instead, when the rankings landed, Pedri was placed 11th, a reality that stunned the Camp Nou faithful and lit up social feeds with disbelief. The official lists also confirmed the headline-grabbing winners of the night, with Ousmane Dembele taking the men's prize and Barcelona's Aitana Bonmati picking up the women's award, while Club Academy sensation Lamine Yamal rose to a stunning second, the kind of mix that showed how the ballot favoured certain narratives this year. To understand the fallout, you have to rewind through Pedri's season. Technical mastery in tight spaces, a string of key performances in La Liga and crucial domestic fixtures, and an intelligent presence that often allowed Barcelona's attacking players to shine. That kind of influence is sometimes invisible in highlight reels and headline stats and awards voting, which blends media opinion, national coaches and captains, can tilt toward goal scorers and those whose numbers scream from the stat sheet. So when the shortlist solidified and the final count placed Pedri just outside the top 10, it wasn't merely a number on a page. It became a question about how modern accolades are measured, by moments, by narratives, or by steady excellence over an entire campaign. The debate is healthy because it exposes the tension between artistry and acclaim in football. There are a few clear storylines that night. 1. The undeniable rise of youth stars whose social and media profiles are exploding. 2. Established names who banked big tournament or club moments. And 3. How a single season's narrative can tip voting. Lamine Yamal's leap into the top spots captured imaginations and reflected a wave of enthusiasm for her style and marketability, while Dembele's campaign for the top prize hinged on high-profile Champions League moments that tend to stick with voters. Meanwhile, Pedri's quieter domination, the sort of performances coaches dream about, didn't generate the same dramatic sound bites, even if it built the foundations of Barcelona's success. Fans argue that this shortchanges pure footballing impact, while others say awards will always favour the flashier storylines that cut across TV highlights and headlines. The reaction from Barcelona fans was immediate and visceral. Disbelief turned quickly into threads questioning the criteria. Threads calling for a boycott of award narratives and threads celebrating Pedri's professionalism rather than mourning the rank. On channels where Barcelona supporters gather, the tone ranged from comedic outrage to sober analysis, and that chorus matters. Emotional ownership of a player's identity can shape both public perception and the player's mental space after a perceived snub. Yet there's a flip side. Controversy can sharpen a career. For Pedri, this could become an inflection point, motivation to return stronger, fuel to silence doubters, and a renewed narrative that highlights resilience rather than recognition. Clubs know how to harness these moments to build profiles and to rally supporters around a player's next steps. Looking ahead, the question is simple. What does Pedri do with this? Will he let the ranking define him, or use it as a springboard to prove that consistent, cerebral midfield play is just as worthy of the highest honours as spectacular goals and viral moments? The coming season will be telling. If Pedri continues his upward curve, collecting performances that combine influence and visible end products, voters will find it harder to place him outside the elite. And for Barcelona, the club now has a choice about messaging. Double down on protecting and amplifying their young talents and ensure the world sees the value they consistently produce. Awards will always be part politics and part performance, but the beautiful thing about football is how rapidly the script can change. One defining campaign, one Champions League run, one electric run of form, and the conversation shifts again. Tonight was painful for some, baffling for others, and energizing for a new kind of debate about what excellence looks like in modern football. Pedri's number on the list is a headline, but it isn't the final word on his talent, his trajectory, or the role he will play in Barcelona's future. Oh, if fans want a silver lining, it's this. The snub has stoked a fire that the player, the club and the supporters can convert into momentum. The next chapter is already waiting, and for anyone who watches the midfield master at work, the expectation is not that he needs validation from a trophy case, it's that he will keep making the team better, and that in the long game often matters more than a single evening in Paris.